Guys, the chicken is here. We are back today with another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we're going to get you prepped and ready to go for Season 39 of Warships. What I want to do today is I want to go over some of the basics, some of the things that we kind of gloss over, roll our eyes at every season, because you've been playing a long time and following along with the videos. You come to know a lot of the terms and kind of Warships jargon that we use just to describe random things, but if you're new, some of these things could confuse you and probably need to be explained a little bit. So we're going to go over that for today's video. But guys, I do appreciate it if you throw in that code CHICKEN into the shop. It does expire every 7 days, so make sure you do a little CHICKEN. Use the code CHICKEN. Obviously appreciate it if you use my code, but just make sure that you've got a creator code thrown in there to support somebody. You know, as we're all pretty small YouTubers, it does, you know, go a long ways. And yeah, I know instant training and extra builder purchases are coming up, so it means a lot. Thank you guys, I'm at your service. So yeah, let's get into it. And also, don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of the videos. We're actually very, very, very close to 32,000 subscribers, which is cool. But yeah, so starting off, let's get the first one out of the way. This is just going to be general tech. What does tech mean? Tech means everything. Tech is stuff that you unlock on the tech tree. That could be upgrading something or unlocking something. It's as simple as that. So when one player has more tech than another player, he has the advantage. Now we have, well, he has the advantage in terms of tech. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but we'll keep it simple for right now. All right, so the next one, this is one that we really go over every single season. Base riding and tech riding. Now, it's not necessarily always one or the other. You can do, like, I tend to do kind of a hybrid approach where I do a little bit of both. Base riding is where you get all the defenses. Tech riding is where you're skipping most of the defenses to get to something that's probably offensive. That's going to be even stronger and doesn't care about all your defenses. So, like last season, we had the tech riding option of going to Seekers early, or we had the base riding option of grabbing all the defenses early. So, just when people talk about that, you know, like, oh, so-and-so is base riding, so-and-so is tech riding really hard. It's an interesting approach because, you know, both of them are fun to do, and we don't really know how they're going to play out until the season actually starts, and we actually see what's better one way versus the other. But the cool thing is you can take either approach and you essentially meet at the end, you know, in the middle at the very end of the season anyways. It's just what's the most effective way to get there? You know, should we skip this, skip that, rush to here, or, you know, get everything and just go in guns blazing, full on arms race mode. So it's interesting, but, you know, something I wanted to just touch on quickly because we do talk a lot about it during the season. I'm sure we gloss over it without actually explaining what we're talking about. The next one is boss fights. So boss fights have definitely become a common term. And you can actually see right now, I'm at rank 23 with 96 stars. My next match would technically be a boss fight because at the absolute minimum, you're going to get something like 6 or 7 stars per match if the guy's like way below you, which would probably never happen on a boss fight. So typically you're going to get 10 stars per win. You kind of look at it that way. So if you're on the battle where you can get enough stars to get to the next rank, that's what we call a boss fight. And these are fun because they're usually pretty wild. Usually you're either facing someone that's a little bit higher than you, or sometimes you can get lucky and face someone that's either, you know, at the same rank or a little bit behind. In my experience, that's never the case, and it always takes like 7 or 8 tries to get there. But they're definitely interesting, and they definitely deserve their own name nonetheless, because for whatever reason, I don't know why, there's always something about a boss fight that's different than the 3 battles that it took you to get there, in my experience. All right, so next we have what's called effective tech. Now, this is something that we always want to be striving towards throughout the course of the season. So, again, looking back at last season, just because it's fresh, a good example of very effective tech was the Seekers. You got to the Seekers, some guys got up to Diamond. Mr. Olsen got up to, I don't even know, it was like rank 9 or something globally, or some whatever insane thing he was able to pull off. So yeah, that would be considered effective tech. Whenever you unlock something that's going to propel you forwards, sometimes it's offense, sometimes it's defense. It's always, you know, different, and there's always different push points. Last season was a little bit lacking in effective tech. There was a ton of maintenance tech, which was just like you got to get this stuff if you're going to maintain your current rank, essentially. And that's usually defenses or maintenance tech or gunboat energy nodes, things like that. So, there's effective tech, there's maintenance tech, and then there's garbage tech, which is just a waste of keys like we see mechs or, something that we're just simply not going to use. So 3 different classifications of tech: effective, maintenance, and garbage. I did kind of make up maintenance and garbage right now, but I think it had a pretty good ring to it. So we'll see if it catches on. And then finally, we have our vacuums. So key vacuums, another word for garbage tech, essentially. Just things that waste keys. I like to talk about key vacuums when we're going over the initial tech tree and just kind of looking at the tech tree as a whole. Because there's paths you want to go, and then there's going to be things in the way that don't help you out at all on those paths, just based on the way that the game is designed. Because if it was designed that everything was amazing, then nobody's going to progress at all, and we're all going to get stuck, right? So I'm not saying key vacuums are necessarily important, but there's definitely a fine balance between making everything good versus kind of slowing that pacing down a little bit with key vacuums. So yeah, these are things that we're just straight up not going to use. Mechs, maybe it's not usually any kind of defense. Any kind of defense is always good. Maybe warriors if we're like after 4 or 5 yards where they're not really useless. Different kind of troops, Zookas sometimes, medics usually are some kind of a vacuum. Stuff that we don't use, you could throw any of that in there. So those are kind of some of the basic terms and strategies that we've come to learn throughout almost 40 seasons of Warships now, just to help you guys follow along a little bit easier, and hopefully have the knowledge for yourself to be able to look at a tech tree, dissect it, and then just go from there. It's not easy, and I usually like to wait and see what's actually going to be 100% certain that this is good or not, but just some tools to help you guys. So other than that, some general tips for when you're playing warships, especially on those first early days, because they are really, really important. The number 1 rule, I'm actually changing this one because we've talked about some of this stuff in the past. Number 1 rule that I have learned, just to take away from the last season: don't get discouraged if you suck right out of the gates. I've had multiple times where I got stuck in rank 11 or even further back, and I went on to make the top 500 at the end of the season. I've done that multiple times, or where I've been late to gold by a day or two, or being late to diamond like we saw last weekend by a week or two. It's important, and it makes everything easier to get the ranks faster, right? But it's not necessarily, oh my God, my season's over. That's what we want to avoid. You just got to take what you can when you can take it. And this goes back to effective tech. It might take you a day or two longer to get to something, and you might have unlocked some bad stuff that wasn't effective on the way there. That stuff will eventually, hopefully help you out. Then by the time you get there, then you can reach where you're supposed to be. Maybe it was gold on day 1 and you unlock something stupid, and, you're a day late to flares or, bullet or something like that, a lot of other people went to. Or maybe there's barrage right after 4 yards and you were just super late to getting that. You might get to the point where by the time you unlock it, it's not even helpful anymore. So you might have to wait for that whole next wave to come through. But at the same time, as long as you're getting there and you know that you could have gotten there within a decent amount of time, you're still going to be fine by the time that next wave comes around. Because you're going to have all the defenses and stuff. And you will eventually get to that point where you can catch them. You just got to really pick out your push points. And, this is if you make mistakes, and then go from there. And then overall, if you're not, if your tech is fine, which is usually the biggest thing, is to find, what tech is correct. The 2 major things, especially at the end of the season, the base design, because a lot of people have this, like once everybody has the same tech at the very end of the season, the biggest thing that comes down to making progress, it's just throwing together a base. Like this one I had right here was awesome on that last day. I don't think a lot of people had seen it yet. And the way you do that is you just scour the leaderboard and you got to try stuff, and it's time consuming and it's difficult, but that's what really pays off in the end. You can you should be changing your base frequently, always, obviously, throughout the season. But yeah, make sure you're staying on top of those, and always be watching replays on attack strategies if you're using the same troops and they're getting a better time than you and something's just going wrong. So those are the basics. Those are the good general, sayings that I feel like will help a lot of people out, and just general advice on how to progress and do well in Warships. So I hope that helps you guys out. Any vets watching this want to leave some more comments with other tips and tricks that I missed, because I'm sure I did. Please let me know down below in that comment section. The chicken ships is taking off, guys. Look at this. We got a massive task force. We got like 50 guys in here now. So big shout out to all of you. If you guys want to join chicken ships, then just make sure that you're getting as far as you can in Warships. And yeah, if you can't join, I'll show you. We can search this up super simply right about now. Just go chicken ships 2. That's it. And it's right here. And nobody else has joined yet, so join that one up. Chicken ships, doesn't have to be upper or lowercase, space 2. I will open it up once I get on my mini to 50 members probably, and then this is just for everybody that wants to eventually get into chicken ships and wants to work their way up. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you next one, guys. Chicken out, backpack.